I saw my life branching out before me, like the green fig tree in the story. From the tip of every branch, like a fat purple fig, a wonderful future beckoned and winked. One fig was a husband and a happy home and children, and another a famous poet, and another a brilliant professor. And beyond and above these figs were many more figs I couldn't quite make out. I saw myself sitting at the crotch of this fig tree, starving to death, just because I couldn't make up my mind which of the figs I would choose. I wanted each and every one of them, but choosing one meant losing all the rest. And as I sat there, unable to decide, the figs began to wrinkle and go black. And one by one, they plopped to the ground at my feet. Those words aren't mine. They were written by Sylvia Plath in her novel, The Bell Jar. And even though they were written decades ago, they describe a fear many of us still live with. Every single day, we are faced with choices, some small, some life-changing. What separates us from who we are today to who we could become tomorrow are these very choices. Yet somehow, they feel impossible to make. We hesitate, we stall, we analyze every outcome except the one where we simply try. What Plath captures so powerfully isn't indecision, but fear. And this fear isn't just personal, it's psychological. When we're faced with too many possibilities, our minds experience pressure. Psychologists call this choice overload. So instead of feeling empowered, we become afraid of choosing wrong, so we delay or avoid choosing altogether. In a well-known experiment conducted, participants were asked to choose between different options. When presented with 6 choices, they were nearly 10 times more likely to make a decision than when given 24. So when we freeze beneath our own fig trees, it isn't because of lack of ability or ambition. It's because we convince ourselves that standing still is safer. But is it really? To understand this better, let's have a quick look at a scenario right here. Now, imagine this. You are a doctor with one life-saving treatment, which must be given before it expires. The first patient, Alex, arrives and is clearly sick. He will survive for now without the treatment, but still needs it to live. While preparing, a second patient, Max, arrives in critical condition. If he does not receive the treatment soon, he will die. Now, how many of you would treat Alex, honoring fairness? Raise your hands, please. Okay. And how many of you would treat Max, prioritizing urgent care? Raise your hands. All right then. Now, I noticed some of you didn't raise your hand for either. But here's the third outcome. If you hesitate, trying to make the perfect choice, the treatment expires, and both patients die. Not because the wrong choice was made, but because no choice was made at all. In that room, time made the decision for us. And that's exactly what happens in our own lives. Maybe not on a life-threatening scale, but in quieter, more familiar ways. This is every time we've delayed applying for that internship, starting that project, trying that hobby, or simply taking the first step. Every person you admire today, every artist, every engineer, every athlete, all once stood where you're standing, beneath a tree full of figs, unsure of which one to pick. The only difference is that they reached. They allowed themselves to start imperfectly. But our trees aren't identical, and we often compare it to others, and suddenly the fruit on our own doesn't feel like enough. Some people grow with branches overflowing with countless opportunities and chances, whilst others have fewer figs, figs that aren't as sweet. Yet those with the least often go the furthest, the ones balancing responsibility early, carrying weight before they're ready, knowing there's no safety net beneath. Meanwhile, many of us stand still with the perfect fruit right above us. We are sitting in classrooms, gaining foundational knowledge, in cities where growth is welcoming, surrounded by family and friends who want us to succeed. The ladder is already leaning against the tree. So what holds us back from choosing just one? And here's the thing we forget. Choosing one fig doesn't mean the rest disappear. You're allowed to take a bite and realize you want another. But what if you're not the person choosing the figs, but the tree itself that is growing them? Because we're the ones nurturing these possibilities. It's our sparks, our interests, our what if I tried this moments that grow into potential futures. Every small passion of ours, those are tiny seeds, little ideas that still have the possibility to grow, even now. Somewhere along the way, we stopped watering these seeds. Not because they stopped mattering, but because we convinced ourselves that they were unrealistic or too childish. But seeds don't care how old you are. They grow when you let them. As time challenges us, at the very least, we can try. Try to be more than who we were yesterday. Try to pick as many figs as we still can. Like the girl underneath the tree, we stand between here and becoming, stuck between wanting everything and choosing nothing. So maybe the answer isn't to find the perfect fig, but to reach anyway, to trust that whichever one you pick will still nourish the person you're meant to become. Because in the end, it's not the wrong choice we regret. It's the empty stomach from never choosing at all. Thank you.